Chris Solomon from No Laying Up joining the show right now. Chris, if you had Fast and Furious residuals, what would you buy?
What did I just walk into? I have no idea what is going on right now.
Thanks for joining the show. It's what we do on the Rich Eisen Show. You know, we talk sports, real serious issues like, is a hibachi at home an investment worth making, you know?
I can't tell if I'm not cultured enough or way too cultured for this conversation. Like, I don't know if
Well, you're a golf guy, you know? You're a golf guy, and golf is an elitist sport, so I get it. This is beneath you, Chris. This is well beneath you. Congratulations on all the success with No Laying Up. When I told some of my golfing buddies that you were coming on the show today, people went nuts. It's got to be a thrill for you to have golfers around the world think of your brand with such affinity. But tell me how this whole thing started and what's the state of the brand today?
Well, I always tell people there's a 2-minute story and a 20-minute story. I'm guessing you're going to ask for the 2-minute story, which is basically some college buddies of mine and I. We started a podcast maybe about 8 years ago now that we kind of looked around. We always wanted to do a sports show of some kind, and golf was just lagging behind in terms of new media popping up. There was not really the same like blogosphere thing that had been going on in baseball and football for quite some time, and just said maybe we could do that for golf. And we started doing it as a hobby back in 2014, and by 2017, we had one by one started just quitting our daytime jobs that we were still maintaining during that time period. And as we started to get pros and guests kind of coming on the show, and the show started to grow and sponsors started reaching out, we decided to try to make it a real business and a real full-time job. And it is a dream job. Somehow I end up working way more now than I ever did when I had an office job, but I can't really complain about it, especially a week like the one we're about to have, which is I think the most anticipated golf tournament I've had since I've been covering golf.
Yeah, what is it about this year's Open Championship that has you so dialed in?
Well, St. Andrews usually hosts the Open Championship every 5 years, and this go around they made a gap of 6 years to have it be the 150th anniversary of the Open Championship, to have that come at the old course. And then, of course, COVID hit, which delayed everything a year. And now it's been 7 years since we've gone back to St. Andrews, which is just longer than it usually is. It's you know, the major championships do a really good. The U.S. Open and Pebble Beach usually don't go too long without going back there. Pinehurst, they don't go too long without going back there, and it just kind of helps with the affinity for casual and you know, regular viewers of golf to say, I know this whole hole, I know this course, I know what you know exactly what's going on out here. And with everything that's going on in the golf world, it has been a very, very tumultuous 3, 6, 12 months in terms of a lot of guys choosing to leave the competitive golf landscape to take huge paydays to pay for a Saudi Arabian-backed exhibition series that has made me question, you know, a lot of what I'm watching on TV. What kind of competition am I actually watching on TV? What is professional golf? You're not going to have that question this week because all those guys are getting back together at the home of golf. The course is in unbelievable shape. It's going to be so much fun to watch. And it just feels like a really strong convergence. Tiger Woods is playing and walking, and that's just absolutely insane when you think about what has been going on in his life over the last 18 months. And I don't know, it just seems like it's all kind of converging on this week. Next week, we go back to talking about the stuff in golf it's not been very fun to talk about. But this week, it's all about, you know, a lot of the reason why I love the game of golf traces back to St. Andrews, and we get to watch the pros take it on this week.
Chris Solomon, one of the co-founders of No Laying Up, joining the show. Ben Lyons in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. And I'm glad you mentioned Tiger Woods having a presence out there at St. Andrews, because I thought his words yesterday were really powerful. And if I'm a young golfer, I would take those to heart. What did you make of Tiger's comments yesterday at the press conference and his thoughts on all the things happening around the LIV Tour?
It was reassuring, I guess, a little bit to hear Tiger say that. We've kind of been waiting for Tiger to really speak on this publicly, and a lot of what he said, I just found myself nodding in terms of like, yeah, you know what? Like that, a big part of like why there are as many golf fans as there are today is because of that guy and because of his competitive nature and because of like how he has chosen to go about addressing competitive golf, and to see these other guys kind of use the PGA Tour to kind of come up and then leave it and abandon it and then take their own, you know, big paydays elsewhere has just been like a little bit heartbreaking as a golf fan. Like on an individual basis, do I understand the huge temptation that comes with unbelievable financial reward to go play some golf tournaments? Of course I do. But as a golf fan, it just kind of bummed me out to be like, to watch guys basically say like, I don't even think I need to compete in the majors anymore. Like I'll just play these big money events. And that's kind of like what my career is now. And that's, you know, I think professional golf can be a 3 or 4 out of 10 on an entertainment scale week to week. Like, it's already not the most entertaining thing to watch every week. There's just so many tournaments and all that. And to kind of have even a little bit of that entertainment value diminished over the last several months has been tough as a golf fan. So it was great to just kind of get some reassurances of what motivated that guy, and hearing from other players just say, look, you can't change what I always dreamed about as a kid. It was playing in Ryder Cups. It was playing in major championships, competing in tournaments like the one that's going to happen this week. And so, yeah, it was great to hear him kind of address it head on. And, I do wonder, watching some of the highlights get played on Golf Channel of Tiger's comments and putting images up of Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau over it as they're saying those words, like, that's got to sting a little bit for those guys. Listen, their bank accounts are not frowning at that, but it is kind of an interesting image to just like put Tiger's words, underneath images of these guys that have gone and done this.
No, well said, Chris. And it is, kind of sad as a golf fan, because you do want to see the next generation of golfers have that same mentality towards the game that Tiger had, which is a big reason why we all fell in love with it in the first place. I don't know if you suffer from this, where I sometimes struggle with following professional golf because I'm out playing golf. How much golf are you getting to play now that it's this, no laying up is your job and your career?
Less and less as the years go along somehow. Pro golf has made our jobs extremely busy, and pro golf is not exactly what I love the most about golf. But I think that's what makes this sport so interesting is, I think when you reach a certain age, like, I have no interest in becoming a better football player than I am. I'm good with my basketball talents. I will never pick up a baseball again, probably, but golf we're going to play forever, and that's just kind of what this unique link that so many people have to the game, and that's why a lot of them tune in to watch mostly the major championships and these great congregations of the best players in the world. But I live in Florida. It is literally a UV index of 11 today, which I didn't even know that was possible. I thought it was a 1 to 10 scale. So summertime, professional golf is super busy, and I'm super busy with that. And once the season kind of ends and we get into the fall is when I play a little bit more golf and get back to the roots as to what I love the most about this game.
Well, you talked about how, despite being a huge fan, it does kind of underwhelm as a television product. It's a 3 or 4 traditionally each week. But that's where brands like No Laying Up come in, and it's been amazing to see not only what you guys have built, but so many other content creators. We're going to have Hallie Ledbetter in studio a little bit later today. There's this whole other world of golf now, thanks to digital media, new media that, is bringing fans into the game. So just talk to me sort of about the state of golf content creation and what you're seeing out there from influencers and everybody who's putting their sauce on the game.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about it just being a game that, I just don't think it's that interesting, and I could be very wrong to, I would never want to go to Australia to go play basketball or go, there's a venue aspect to golf that is so incredibly unique and interesting that there's cultures around it in different countries, and it's just I don't know if I ever would have gone to Tasmania if it wasn't for 2 great golf courses being built down there on that island. And there's a travel and aspirational aspect to all of that I think is really being captured very strongly in YouTube content and social media and things like that. It's just pleasant to open up an Instagram and just see pictures of golf courses around the world and videos of people playing golf courses around the world, and it just kind of helps keep alive a dream that, hey, maybe someday I'll go visit that place, or I'd love to learn more about that, or I'd love to just escape for an hour and watch this video of, this weird golf course in New Zealand or something like that. It's been a true revolution, really, of that in the last 10 years, and we're fortunate to be a part of it. I honestly just wish I could be in 2 places at once. I'd love to be watching golf and playing golf somewhere at the same time, which is just not possible. And there aren't enough days in the year really to get out and film and produce as much content and as I wish there was. That's the only thing I could change if I would.
No Laying Up co-founder, one of the hosts, Chris Solomon, joining the show. Ben Lyons in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. Chris, I've had the privilege of being around some really interesting people who work in the game of golf. And the question I always ask them, it's rather open-ended, and I'll ask it to you. What does golf need more of?
What does it need more of? Let's just go up from the start. I think it needs to be a more engaging television product. When we're talking about the professional game, I think it's hard to watch on a week-to-week basis when there's as many commercials as there are. So from the top-down approach, it's not a necessarily delightful thing to tune on every week. And I think that can have a filter all the way down to Golf needing more, honestly, like immediate answer to that would just be like more par 3 courses. I need a place to go where, well, with my wife, who's a beginner, or some of my neighbors that are beginners that we've talked about going out and playing golf together that are very much beginners. They don't need a 440-yard par 4. They are years away from needing to play that hole. But you know what they would probably have a lot of fun with is a 60-yard hole, a pitch shot, putting, getting around the green, and getting into the hole without feeling like they're rushed or they need a tee time or they need their shirt tucked in or all that. I just think that, a place like that takes so much less land. It takes so much less maintenance. And I can feel kind of a renovation or, kind of a revolution in that as well, and more of these things popping up. But I really do think that that's really what the game needs to introduce more people to it. And just to, not every round of golf needs to be 18 holes. It can be 6 holes. It can be 5. And there's some more and more places that are starting to embrace that. And I'm hopeful that over the next 10 years or so, there'll be a lot more places that you can visit that are like that.
I hope you're pulling back the curtain. I hope you're revealing what the No Laying Up brand has in the future in the works, because a No Laying Up like headquarters or nightclub that's a par 3 course and is a vibe. Like, dude, I'm all in. All in on that. Awesome. But it's funny. It's like what I love about No Laying Up and what you guys have built is that there's this real understanding, appreciation, and respect for the game and the traditions we love about the game without, like you said, all the pretentious stuff. We're not trying to go to the golf course in jeans and blast the new, Pusha T album. Like, that's not what's happening. But we can have some fun and we can loosen things up a little bit. So where do you lie sort of on the idea of golf getting a little zanier and crazier and louder and waste management-ifying the game, if you will?
I think there's a lot of room for that entertainment aspect you're speaking about, waste management being an example of what they just do the entertainment aspect of professional golf extremely well. That tournament is worth watching because the atmosphere that they have on site rings through on television. The noise, the setting, the networks actually do a great job of that event, just giving you a sense of place, feeling like you're within those crazy crowds. I used to doubt how many people they got to that tournament until I went for the first time in person. I was like, okay, this is a festival. Like this is the extreme end of the entertainment aspect of professional golf. But at the same time, like there are some traditions of the game of golf that I do respect. Like I do. I don't know. I don't really care if you have your shirt tucked in. I don't really care what you wear on the golf course. Yet at the same time, like maintaining pace of play and just kind of making sure that the person behind you is having as good of an experience on the course as what you're having, I think is something that is a challenge with the game that comes with, new people coming into it and not understanding certain, I hate to even say rules because really it's just etiquette. It's just like how, does your experience affect the people around you? If you get somebody out there who's a true beginner that has no idea that they should probably pick the ball up at a certain point, you might back up the whole golf course, right? So it's a challenge that golf is going to battle forever, as far as I can tell. But there's a lot of stuff that's really silly that just doesn't need to happen in the game. But I think year by year, some of that stuff just starts to fade away. I remember people were actually talking about, like, should hoodies be on a golf course? It's like, why? Who is mad about that? Like, who could possibly care?
That was a big issue, Chris. That was a serious issues. There were lots of memos and meetings. So many people were CC'd on the email.
I don't know if it actually was a serious issue. I think people are just like one person mentioned it, and everyone got up in arms about one person mentioning it, and it became a storyline for like a couple years ago. But I don't know. I'm all over the place. I dress nice sometimes to go play golf and play real serious competitive golf from the back tees, and then I dress like a slob sometimes and go out and play 3 holes with beginners from the white tees or whatever it is. So the golf can be experienced in so many different ways. I'll never tell someone how they should experience it or enjoy it. I can just try to give people an image of different ways that they can and should maybe want to experience it.
Hey, Sally, Chris Brockman here. Big fan of you guys and all the work that you put out, so thank you for all of that. Listening to the preview for the Open Championship yesterday, why are you so high on Will Zalatoris? We've seen what he's done in majors this year, but do you really think he can keep it up this week at St. Andrews?
It's kind of like, just keep betting on black until it hits, this kind of thing for
right.
me at this point. I mean, that record that he has in major championships it's still underappreciated. Like I really would have thought he would have been at the top of the betting sheet this week based on, guys like Brooks Koepka and Louis Oosthuizen have always had outsized major championship resumes compared to their week-to-week performances on the PGA Tour. And granted, those guys have, 5 major championships between the two of them, but they always would get a bit of an odds boost going into the week, just based off the fact that when the golf has gotten harder and more serious and more competitive and more challenging in every way, they play better golf than everyone else. And that's the hardest thing in the world to do. So for Will Zalatoris, I think he's played 9 majors in his career so far. He's got something like 6 top 5 finishes and at least 3, I don't have the numbers in front of me, runner-ups in majors, including 2 already this year. He lost in a playoff at the PGA and was 1 putt away from a playoff at the U.S. Open. That you can't fake that. That's not luck. That's not a streak. That's not a hot streak. He turns into a different player when the golf gets really challenging. And until he gets down into that 15-1 range before a tournament starts, he was 30-1 still when this week started.
Right.
And look, I'm fine. I don't even want to call it a flyer. I just honestly think I feel like I can count on that guy the most to be around in that top 5 come Sunday. And yeah, that one's still just jumping off the page at me.
What do you think about scoring, too? I saw a tweet earlier today that Bryson hit it 300 yards with his 6-iron. Do you think it's going to be 25 under on Sunday?
I don't think it's going to be 25 under when it's as firm as it is, and they've had a great summer from all accounts in St. Andrews. When it's as firm as it is, that ball is going to run for a very long time. You might think that might make it easier. It's going to play shorter, all that stuff. The pros do not like it when they don't know when and how their ball is going to stop. So the challenge this week is going to be hitting it. Yeah, you can hit it really far. That's not going to be the hard part. How do you make sure it doesn't stop in a bunker? And when the ball doesn't stop, it's going to look for something to settle in. And I watched balls roll down these fairways this week, and it's like glass. I mean, if it can't sit on top of a knob because of how slick the surfaces are. It's going to find a little hollow. It's going to find some low spots. So if you're not in control of where it's going, it's going to end up in a bunker or a bad spot. So, there's guys, I know Justin Thomas at one point hit a 6-iron off a tee to avoid a particular bunker, and he ended up 30 yards past the bunker he was trying to stay short of. That kind of challenge is really unique to professionals. And look, is it going to play short? Are you going to be able to, with great execution, are you going to be able to pull off some outrageous shots from 370 yards away? Absolutely. But there's just enough, curves in the road, if you will, that you got to navigate. This is not downhill skiing. This is slalom. There's moguls out there. You got to avoid them, and you can't just pin your ears back when a course is playing this firm, or else you're going to end up in some really crazy spots. And it's going to be a test of feel around the greens, lag putting and putting around bunkers, and balls are going to end up in some super weird spots this week. I can't wait. There's the way the old course is set up. They're going to be, if you hit one offline, it's heading towards you're probably heading towards another group on another hole nearby, and it's not going to stop. There's going to be guys driving balls over the green with guys still on the green, and it's just mayhem out there. It shouldn't fit as many people on it as it does, yet it's worked for this many years, and I truly cannot wait to watch it.
Sally, we appreciate you taking some time. I know how fired you are for the Open Championship to hang out with us today, and congrats on everything with No Laying Up. A lot of love from all the golfers on this show, that's for sure.
Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'll come back anytime you'll have me. Cheers. Chris
Solomon checking in. No Laying Up. Entrepreneurial. Did the podcast thing 8 years ago. If you build it, they will come. You just surely, brick by brick, you build something really special.